Alright, let's dive into something that's been making headlines and honestly, has me scratching my head a bit. So, Iran just launched what the US military is calling an attempted surprise attack on American forces in the Middle East using ballistic missiles. Now, what makes this really interesting is the timing. This happened right after a brief lull in hostilities, a moment when both sides were supposedly taking a step back to negotiate. Personally, I think this raises a deeper question. Was this attack a calculated move to disrupt those talks? Or was it a rogue action that doesn't reflect Iran's broader strategy? It's hard to say, but one thing that immediately stands out is how this shatters the fragile sense of calm we've seen recently. Here's where it gets even more complex. The attack coincided with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington. Now, from my perspective, this isn't just a coincidence. Netanyahu's presence in the US, especially during a period of heightened tensions, could be seen as a symbolic moment for Iran to send a message. What this really suggests is that Iran might be trying to remind everyone of its military capabilities and its ability to act unpredictably. But what many people don't realize is that these kinds of moves often backfire in negotiations. If you take a step back and think about it, this could actually strengthen the US and Israel's resolve to push harder against Iran, which might not be the outcome Tehran was hoping for. Another detail I find fascinating is the mention of Saudi Arabia intercepting drones targeting its petroleum facilities, allegedly launched by Iran-affiliated militia groups. This isn't just about Iran versus the US, it's about Iran's broader influence in the region. In my opinion, this shows how interconnected these conflicts are. The Strait of Hormuz, for example, remains a massive sticking point in talks, and these actions could be Iran's way of asserting control over that critical waterway. But here's the thing, while Iran might see this as a show of strength, it could also isolate them further on the global stage. What's also worth noting is the human cost of all this. According to the Pentagon, over 600 US service members have been wounded since the strikes against Iran began in February. That's a staggering number, and it reminds us that these geopolitical maneuvers have real, tangible consequences. Personally, I think this should be a wake-up call for both sides to prioritize diplomacy over escalation. But as we've seen, even when talks seem promising, like when Trump mentioned very friendly negotiations, things can take a turn in an instant. So, where does this leave us? In my opinion, this latest attack is a stark reminder of how volatile the situation in the Middle East remains. It's not just about Iran and the US. It's about the broader balance of power in the region. If you take a step back and think about it, this could be a pivotal moment that either pushes both sides back to the negotiating table or escalates tensions further. What makes this really interesting is that it's not just about military might, it's about strategy, symbolism, and the unpredictable nature of international relations. One thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and I'll be keeping a close eye on how it unfolds. What do you think? Is this a calculated move by Iran, or a misstep that could backfire? Let me know in the comments below.